I'm hoping that this podcast can help a young couple that's just trying to figure it out. That's
Yeah.
like, we want to be entrepreneurs. We want to start a family one day. We just got married or we're looking to get married. We want to keep Christ at the center of our relationship and our foundation. What does that look like?
Mm-hmm.
And so we get to be a representation of what that looks like. And that's a lot of weight to carry.
Yeah.
But I think that God truly called us to do it.
Agreed.
Hey, this is Amanda Wells.
And this is Derek Wells.
Welcome to the Wells of Wealth podcast, where we bring you the latest insights and strategies for digging deep and tapping into the wealth of knowledge that can help you achieve your financial, relationship, family, and faith goals.
Let's do it. Welcome to the Wells of Wealth podcast. So this is our first podcast. You excited?
This is our first one. I'm super excited. I'm so excited.
So I want to kick it off and start with a word of wealth.
Okay. I like that.
And the quote is from Dave Ramsey. I think it encompasses our podcast, what we stand for as people, and what this podcast is about.
Okay.
So the quote says, family, relationships, spirituality, and finances are not four separate things. They are incredibly interconnected. When you have your finances in order, it can improve your family life and your relationships. And when you focus on your spirituality, it can bring clarity and intention to your financial decisions.
Ooh, that's good.
That's
I like
good.
that. I like that. That's
So,
perfect.
what does that mean to you?
Oh
that
man. So it does embody what Wells of Wealth is. And so for those of you that's your first time tuning in, which is everybody, because it's our first episode. But the Wells of Wealth podcast is a space where as millennials, we can chat about a wealth of topics, what holistic wealth means, which goes through family, that goes with spirituality, how to build wealth, how to keep healthy relationships in your life. Like they do all come together because if our wealth, if our money's not right, one of those other little
One
areas,
of those others gonna suffer.
they're gonna suffer, and vice versa with all of them, right? They all are like a perfect balance.
Agreed. I think about it from this standpoint, like spirituality is the center. Like you have to hear from God to know what you should be doing with your finances.
Right.
And for me, like when our finances are not good, it affects every other part of my life. That's
facts.
It affects our marriage.
That's facts.
I'm more frustrated. My mind is more consumed with like, okay, I need to figure this out and get this straight. So I think when you're listening to God and you structuring your finances, you're being a steward over what He gave you.
Absolutely.
And then that funnels into your marriage. That's the reason that 50% of divorces, a majority of divorces end because of finances.
Yeah.
But if you have a good foundation and you're focusing on the right things,
right,
and you're managing your money the right way,
right,
you can build holistic wealth.
Absolutely.
Because wealth is not just finances.
It's not just finances. Because for me, as you know, the wife in a situation, really giving you, space to be the provider.
Yeah.
And to let you deal with all the concerns and frustrations of all that. For me, it's a lot of the family and the relationship. Like, if those things are out of whack for me, it's hard for me to focus on getting to the bag. It's hard for me to focus on being a great mother. Like, when those things are out of whack, my life is out of whack. So I think they really do come together and balance each other. And so that's what that
I agree.
That's what that means to me.
Yeah, that's good. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, let's kick it off with the intro.
All right, cool. So let's hop into a little story time about how we got here.
Okay.
Like, how did Wells of Wealth come about?
Yeah. So I think about the purpose of this episode is just to talk about our why. Like, why are we doing this podcast? How we got here, and why are we going on this journey?
Right.
So for you, what led you down this path?
Whew, okay, so I remember, man, this has been almost like a year ago. I remember coming to you and being like, baby, we should do a podcast together.
And I was like, nah, I'm
Yeah,
good.
it was an instant shutdown. Like,
No,
girl,
thank
goodbye,
you. Bye.
bye. And I was just like, no, like, we have great conversation. I think, we can do some big stuff with this podcast. Like, let's just do it. And you were like, nah, I'm good. And so then I think you had suggested like maybe you should do a podcast with a friend.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that could possibly work. And so I remember hitting up my friend. And we're both mothers, we're both entrepreneurs, we're both business owners and doing our own thing. And so the idea sounded cool, but we could just never get on the same
Calendar on the same time.
We
And
couldn't.
y'all both just had life going different ways and just never
Came together.
came together.
And I was like, okay, that's cool. It's just not meant for us to do, or it's not in the right season.
Yeah.
Because, we both really believe in seasonality. So it's like, okay, cool. So I left it alone. But man, every time we would have friends over, we would hop in the hot tub and just have good conversation. Like, the conversations would be dynamic.
Absolutely.
And I'm just like, this could help somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so nothing happened with that. We just let it go. Kept on moving on with life. And beginning of the year hit. And we've just been hearing like, y'all gotta get into video.
Yep. That's what everybody's been telling us. And kind of starting off the year, we said, okay, we're going to switch up our business strategy and we're going to focus a lot more on video content.
Right.
I wouldn't think about doing a podcast then, I'll say that.
But I wasn't either. I honestly wasn't either.
But I was like, okay, that's a good point. Like, if you look at social media, that's what feeds the algorithm. You have to have video content.
Right.
And in our business, if you're not known, if people don't know who you are, it's hard to get clientele.
Absolutely. In real estate, you have to like be able to show who you are. You got to be able to show up. People need to see your personality and see who you are. And so people kept telling me like, man, y'all got to tell y'all story. Y'all have to tell y'all story. Y'all have an amazing story. People want to hear from you. And yeah.
So I think that I agree. I think that we just kind of fell into the role, and once we kind of got our groove, then I was like, well, maybe we can just talk about different type of issues and concepts, and then it just kind of led us to the podcast.
Right. And so let me back it up just a little bit. Okay. So initially it was like, okay, we started filming videos on our camera, or I'm sorry, not on our camera, on our phone.
Yeah.
We were just doing little videos on our phone. And we were like, man, this ain't it.
Yeah.
This ain't it. Like, we gotta step it up. So finally I was like, baby, we need a camera. We need to get a camera. And you were like, all right, well, we'll get one when it's time. And then you started seeing the feedback on some of the videos we were posting. They were all kind of grainy. They just wasn't hitting.
Yeah, they wouldn't the professionalism I like.
Yeah. And so we get these beautiful photography photos done with our boy Josh. He does an amazing job. And I'm like, our video got to meet this swag.
Yeah.
And so finally, you let me convince you, along with other people, because it's never just me.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a team.
That's true.
To go out and get a camera. We got a camera. And I just remember us just, again, in the hot tub one night talking, and we're like, man, we got this camera. The things that we want to share with people, the things that God has placed on our heart to help other couples or other people raising families or other business owners, like we can't shoot that in a
Yeah,
quick
yeah,
60-minute clip
exactly.
or a reel. They're
Yeah,
not going to
yeah,
get the true
yeah,
experience of who we are.
yeah.
And so Wells of Wealth was
Wells of
born.
Wealth was born, and I think that it's going to give us an opportunity to be a blessing to a lot of people,
How
and
so?
and
What's your thoughts on that?
because I think about our story. We got married young, so we 12 years in the game.
Yeah.
There's not a lot
Long,
of
long time.
there's not a lot of married millennials that can say that they've been married that long and
Yeah.
navigated life through different stages. We have 3 kids.
Yeah.
Our kids are one in middle school, two of them in elementary. Like a lot of your friends, they don't even have kids or they just start having kids. So
Yeah.
you can give, well, both of us can give advice about how do you navigate life, because we experience a lot of those
Big
things
moments.
early, big moments
Yeah.
early.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
We've
So
been through a lot of life in 12 years.
we have. So I think we can be a blessing, and the purpose is just to let God use us in however way He wants to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I think that kind of leads us into the next portion, which is just what can our viewers, the people that tune in, that's listening to us, what can they expect to see or hear from Wells of Wealth podcast? What are those key components of us, of our space, that's going to set us apart and keep drawing people back?
I think we're just gonna give people a few things. Number one, I think we have to be transparent
Yeah.
and vulnerable and real with people on how life really is.
Yeah. The
Like
good, the bad, the
good, the
ugly.
bad. You know, when you have kids, people that's going into it, they're excited about having kids. People that have kids, they just like, Lord.
Yeah. You can literally tell a new parent or people that are like just got married and they're fresh with ideas about having kids versus people that's been in the game.
Yeah.
Cause they just like, oh, that's cute. You're cute.
And and how to navigate life from a standpoint of Instagram presents everything as glamorous, easy, and instantaneous, and it gives you a vibe that if I'm not doing perfect, then something is not right,
Correct.
and that's not reality.
At all.
You're gonna go through stuff in your marriage. You're gonna go through stuff with your kids. You're gonna go through stuff with your family. Like that is normal.
That's life.
That is life.
You're going to gain friends, lose friends, pick up jobs, lose jobs, switch careers.
Mm-hmm.
Life is not a straight line.
Nope.
Life is like all over the place. It's up
a
and
roller
downs. And we've gone through a lot of that.
Yep. And I feel like number one, we're still becoming. We're still figuring
Okay,
out
Michelle
life.
Obama.
We're still figuring out
Come
life.
on, Michelle.
But I feel like we figure out how holistic wealth should look.
Right.
Like we make good money. We have a great family dynamic.
We do.
We are growing and getting stronger in our spiritual relationship every day.
Every day. Absolutely.
And those are the elements to having holistic
In
success.
our marriage.
Yeah, in our marriage.
Don't leave me out of the
in our
equation.
marriage. We got a fantastic marriage.
We do. I'm happy.
Getting better and better every day.
Every day.
Every day.
But Lord, it was a process.
It was a process. We ain't always been.
We have not.
Yeah.
We have not.
But
And we will get into that if you keep listening.
yeah. But I think and I think what's going to set us aside is the cornerstone will be based on Christ.
Absolutely. Because it's hard to tap into that. Like you don't see a lot of couples, millennial couples that are Christ-based, that are willing to share the gospel, but also talk about what's happening in culture.
Yeah, like real stuff.
Bringing the two together and letting you know, like, this is how we got through this situation. Like, if it wasn't for Christ, we would not be 12 years in the game. If it wasn't for Christ, our kids wouldn't be the people that they are. And so it's important. Like, we're not going to sit here and take all the credit because it's not us. It's
At
not
all.
us.
Yeah.
It's what God has poured into us. And so me personally, like, I remember when we first got married, I was super young, y'all. Like, I was 19 years old, about to turn 20 when we first got married. Knew this was the man of my dreams. Knew that, okay.
I mean, of course you knew.
I'm going to give you a minute. Are you done?
Continue,
Are you finished
continue,
or are you done?
Continue.
Okay.
I just want to let the people know.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm trying to bring it back. You just threw me for a loop. When we first got married, I was young, and I remember, I grew up in a single parent household. I have aunts and uncles that are married, but I wasn't really truly there to witness their marriage and witness what that looked like. And so I just remember being young and being married and being like, dang, there got to be a book out here I can read to teach me how to be a wife. Or there got to be something I can tap into to help me navigate life because all of this is new for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that this podcast can help a young couple that's just trying to figure it out. That's like, we want to be entrepreneurs. We want to start a family one day. We just got married or we're looking to get married. We want to keep Christ at the center of our relationship and our foundation. What does that look like? And so we get to be a representation of what that looks like. And that's a lot of weight to carry.
Yeah.
But I think that God truly called us to do it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That's what 12 years in the game do, baby.
It's something. It's something. That's for certain.
Yeah.
All right. So, welcome to Wealth Avenue. This is the portion of the show where we give you tips on your road to success. And I think I'm gonna start today.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start. I want the tip to be geared towards us.
Okay.
I'm gonna give us a tip.
Okay.
My tip for us would be to stay the course.
That's good.
Allow God to use us to take shape and form of what this becomes. I know we have an idea of what it is that we want to give to the people and what we're looking, what we're hoping to bring to people, but really just continuing to let God have his way in this podcast, in our conversations, and to just stay consistent and engage with people. And I think that if we continue to honor that, God will continue to honor this.
That's good.
Yeah. So what about you? What is your Wealth Avenue tip for success?
I would say spend time this week focusing on your version of success. Because it looks different for everybody.
It does.
Everybody has a different story. Everybody has a different strength. Everybody has different weaknesses. And a lot of times we get caught up with seeing a successful person and then saying, okay, I'm going to imitate that.
Yeah.
But no, God created you uniquely to do something. Find your purpose, and that's what success looks like. Following your purpose.
That's good.
And I think that if people would just focus on finding that, be comfortable in that, and be the best they can in that, then everybody will be successful.
Absolutely.
Because they'll be fulfilling their purpose.
And I have a quick follow-up on that.
Okay.
And it's a question more so for you, because I struggled with this for a long time. What advice would you give to someone that is struggling to figure out their purpose?
That's a good question. I would say a few things. Number one, a lot of gifts that I see people flourish at are things that they naturally did. Like about my god brother Justin. Since a kid, since he was a kid, I see him flourishing in the things that he's doing now. And seeing his life unfold since we were babies.
Yeah.
When you follow your purpose, God has given you a unique skill set to use for his glory.
Right.
And I think that when you, number one, hearing from God and like spending time with God and understanding how he looks and what he's trying to tell you and where he's trying to lead you.
Yeah.
And it's not going to always be fun and everything is not going to go always be perfect because you need to go through the trials so you can learn. Like there's been a lot of lessons we learned in trials.
Right. To
So
ultimately get to
be
our
where I
purpose.
am today.
Yeah.
So I think it's a never-ending pursuit to find your purpose and find exactly what God calls you to do. And I think it can change in different seasons.
I agree with that.
I mean,
Yeah.
the things that he has me doing now may not be the things he has me doing later. And I have to constantly be in consultation with him. So I know when he's saying move.
I like that.
And when he's saying stay still.
I like the consultation. That's
Yeah,
dope.
you have to have a conversation with him. I mean, I can't be married to you and never talk to you and expect me to have a healthy relationship.
And you won't stay married
and
to me.
expect me to be happy and walk in purpose and be fulfilled. Like that, it ain't gonna work. Our marriage ain't gonna work. Our friendship not gonna work. Like anything you doing is not gonna work if you not communicating in consultation with him. And he's your designer. He's the one that created you. Right. So if you want to find your purpose, you got to start off with finding him.
You do.
And understanding what he created you to do.
Ooh. Boy, you took
a good question.
You took us to Wealth Avenue, okay?
That was a good question.
I think that was an excellent way to end the show and to just give the people something to just dwell on. That was good. Give me okay. I see you.
Give the people a little something.
A little something. I like that. That was good. All right, y'all. Well, that concludes Wells of Wealth. Just to give you a little context, we plan on releasing our shows every Tuesday, giving you guys a good 10 solid episodes per season. We will include a few guests this season, so I'm excited about that. But make sure that you follow us on your favorite podcast streaming app. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the like and subscribe. The subscribe portion is important.
That is important.
Follow us on Instagram at Wells Team Houston. And thank you so much just for being a part of our wealth community. This is our first show, so you are a part of something monumental. And we just cannot wait to see what God does. So see you next week, guys.